Sorry. Sorry. And semua dari dia.
Dah.
Dah. Dah rekod kan?
Dah.
Ya.
Hmm.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today our group would like to present about PBL. So first is Civil Engineering Division, and as you can see here, there is types of buildings. Okay, I would like to pass to the first presenter to present about her parts of division of civil engineering.
Okay, so today I would like to explain more about civil engineering for my part transportation. Today, okay, so from the previous meeting, I stated that ambulance and also emergency patient will have separate and direct access from a different route to the emergency department, so that both can prevent from traffic jam and also arrive in time. So from this figure, I took an example from this hospital. As we can see here, there's three gate entrance which leads to the hospital, so that visitors can choose which route and which is the suitable and shortest route to the hospital. So there is also an emergency department for the emergency patients, and lastly there is also 4 parking lots that separate for visitors and also staffs. Okay, next. Next is the ambulance route to the hospital. Okay, so as you can see here, there's two routes, which is route 1 and route 2. So ambulance paramedics play a big role to identify which is the shortest route to take the shortest route uh, to get to the emergency department. So as we can see here, both routes are links to the same hospital. So I did my research that ambulance take mostly 8 minutes to the patient's house and also back to the hospital. So it is very important that ambulance paramedics know what which is the suitable route from the patient's from the hospital to the patient's house and back to the hospital. Okay, next. Okay, as I said just now, emergency department is very compulsory and important. So I will be explaining the purposes of this emergency department is to treat critical ill patients and to prevent critically patients to become more injured. So for example, accident happens, then ambulance can straight have access to the emergency department. So in this emergency department, emergency room and also emergency medicine. So that is it for me. I will pass to the next.
Okay. I would like to present about water resource. So first of all, water resource engineering is a field that is primarily responsible for water and tackles the planning, development, and management of water resource. It is also covers the estimation of water resource in the region and the water inflow so that the new structures can be built. So this is some example, and this is sewage treatment plant for hospital. So since hospital sewage or wastewater consists of various potential hazardous components that will cause many risks on human and environment by polluting surface and groundwater. Hence, hospital sewage treatment is very much required. If the water is not treated adequately, the harmful contaminants in the sewage is hazardous to human health and natural environment. So sewage treatment plan in hospital is always necessary to reduce harmful impact on the environment. And lastly, I would like to talk about distribution of water use in hospital in accordance with hospital activities. So, water management in hospital. Water is of crucial importance in hospital in terms of health and hygiene. Hospital require a significant amount of water to be used on daily basis for various different purposes depending on the nature of operation being implemented. According to the study conducted, the activity that require the most water consumption in hospital are listed as follows: washing, sanitation, kitchen and cafeterias, processing, and lastly irrigation. The amount of water used for such activity varies between 20 and 40% in washing activities, 50 and 40% in processing activity, 5 and 25% in kitchen activities. On the other hand, the daily water consumption is in several different 138 to 550 bed capacity hospital. Varies approximately between 156 and 697. Distribution of water consumption in such hospital in accordance with the respective activity is presented in figure. So, how to improve hospital water and wastewater system? You can integrating water quality measure into your distribution network design to ensure consistently high water quality. Getting water authority permission to discharge treated wastewater into the local water area, planning and identifying possible for reusing treated wastewater, and lastly integrating optimal wastewater treatment into hospital construction plans. So that's all for me. I would like to pass to the next presenter.
Okay, I will present about the civil engineering division for geotechnical engineering. Okay, the geotechnical engineering is basically involved in the early construction process of a project. Okay, next. Okay, the process. The first one is the subsurface investigation, where the person in charge will collect soil sample from the project site to be analyzed. This is for engineers to know the ground stress bearing capability and also the stability. Okay, the second step is to do a field test. The field test is taken to determine if there are any issues regarding erosion, settlement, or slope of the site. This is also one of the steps to take safety solution for the construction site. Okay, the next one is computer analysis. This is where the data compiled will be analyzed and it will show how crucial the model's condition will be in future development of the construction project. Okay, after the computer analysis already done, only then the person in charge will assist for development of earthworks and foundation that is suitable for the conditions of the site. Next. Okay, the first one is foundation. Okay, we have two types of foundation, which is shallow foundation and deep foundation. Okay, for this, the shallow foundation is the shallow foundation is a type of foundation which is The foundation is very near to the ground. This type of foundation usually, in this case, will be used for the single level buildings such as a pharmacy building and outpatient treatment center. Okay, for the deep foundation, it usually used in high. It usually used when the shallow foundation cannot adequate provide adequate capacity for the building. Okay, usually this is used in the multi-level buildings such as ward and ICU. Okay, and this is the footing. Next. Okay, next is slab. This slab must be thick enough to provide sufficient rigidity to spread bearing loads uniformly and to minimize differential settlement of the foundation. Okay, next is the earthworks. Okay, the earthwork is basically the first thing to do after the geotechnic test is finished. This is when the engineers will identify and for any improvement or the solution of the ground. And it is also the phase where the slope stabilization is made because any unstable slope will cause future harm to the construction site. Okay, that's all from me, and I will pass it to Aida.
Thank you, Faiezatul. So I will continue for the next civil engineering division, which is structural. Okay, structural is installed including without limitation. So, what is structural works? It is any part of an assembly which provides necessary supporting structure to the whole or any part of the building. This is a common um, structural works for a common building, which is decking, roof installation, tuck pointing, fencing, retaining walls, patio, bathroom, kitchens, balcony, rewiring, electrical or brickwork, and many of it. The next is structural element, which is any internal or external load, bearing, component of the building that is essential to the stability of the building or any part of it, including foundations, floors, walls, rooms, and columns and beam. Okay, so this is an example for a floor plan view. Okay, for ground floor, you will be placed inquiry counters, emergency rooms, waiting area for children, and any other than that. Usually, ground floor is much wider than and didn't pack than other floor because this is when building a hospital. Most of hospital is have much more than 5 floors. For other floors, it usually more packed with patients and has a lot of detail, as each space and rooms needs to be separate with other patients to avoid something happen to the patient. Okay, next. Next is groundwork. This is the lowest part of the building or ground or called as groundwork. It is really important to have a good base to build a strong hospital building that can avoid earthquake or natural disaster. Okay, next is flooring. The flooring are most for building a hospital. Um, Linoleum is the type of flooring that is much more better than vinyl. But linoleum is separate to two types, which is pros and cons. Most of uh, constructor use pros because To build a hospital that includes 6 patients, the environment need to be clean and comfortable for patients. Uh, the first floors is easy to clean, then cons, cause cons hard to repair and easily scratch when something scratch on top of the floor. Okay, next is um, walls. Okay, walls is most of hospital construction use this structure for walls because the main and important things is to build a long-last building and also can absorb all the vibration and noise that came from the building. From if you look at the floor, it has 2 layers of gypsum board to give a minimum density of 23 kg meter cube and minimum 50 mm of modular wool, 2 layers of gypsum board. It has a two layers of gypsum board, and the whole of uh, between between the 2 layers, it has a clear cavity between steps. Okay, next is roof. Okay, for roof, um, because of hospital is a tall building, it was um, it was much more suitable to choose a flat roof than pitched roof because flat roof is much more cheaper and easy to install rather than pitch roof. Okay. Um, okay. For roof, suitable choice is flat roof because uh, it has many advantages, such as the hospital can put the helipad for emergency or just in case uh, it is too far from the hospital. Next is beam. For beam, um, most engineers choose castellated beams for structure. This beam incorporates the expansion of a standard roll steel section, and this expansion gives architects enough room to have predetermined, programmable cutting patterns. Patterns can be cut into 2 separately produced beam web sections before the section itself is cut into 2 halves. Um, and after alignment of setting, web posts, web patterns, horizontal height points can be job welded together to create a castellated beams. In terms of structural performance, the ability to split and expand roll steel section gives architects the ability to create highly versatile, stronger structures without adding any other materials. Um, so next is rewiring and electrical in the hospital's system. Okay, it's very important for hospital because some operation depends of electrical tool and also for the doctors. So there must be an emergency electrical system all the time because uh, this is another tip for designing a hospital electrical system. Considering the emergency electrical system, as we have already said, as both the emergency system and the equipment system must be independent from other installation and it must provide critical branch and vital branch. One of the reasons why the design of electrical beams in hospital requires special treatment due to the possible failures that could happen and that will affect more the human life of patients and even personnel the installation. So next is the okay. For okay, uh, this is one of the issues on structural works, uh, which is open design, because uh, to achieve this design, architects may design large, transparent, entries and public area, and this meet the design goal but add complexity to building structure because they can require large floor openings, tall embrace columns or multiple column free space. So, to prevent any issues from occurring, the steps selection of appropriate tools and the correct method of construction that has been described earlier must be followed, and the aspect and characteristic that are appropriate to the building. Uh, um, So for the conclusion, uh, the unique issues facing the hospital architect and facility of the hospital can have important applications for a facility structure. Being aware of these issues early in the design process can result in a structural system that is better integrate with the overall facility design, often with significant long-term cost savings for the owner. So that's all from me and our group uh, for PBL presentation. Thank you.